Hi everybody, welcome to week 3 of our class. This week we're going to be doing chapter 3 and chapter 4 together. You'll see kind of why they complement each other and why I've chosen to link them to each other when we're talking about strategy and how you can use strategy to better market on the internet. I do want to call attention to the 4 articles that I've selected for this week. They are quick reads, they're easy reads, they won't take you more than about a minute each, but I really think they'll help you understand sort of the direction that internet marketing is going in right now. What are the hot trends? What should people be doing that are looking to promote their businesses? And I think they're good reads. As we did for the first lecture, I'm going to cover some of the important concepts related to strategies involved with internet marketing, and then I'll refer to the figures in the book when they're needed. So if you have any questions, remember, I'm always just an email away. Please email me. So the big idea behind today is kind of this notion of what is a business model. And if you remember one thing from the lecture, it's just that business models have changed. What was effective in the 50s and 60s is not effective today. If you look up online what is a business model, you're going to return probably over 100 million different hits. So this definition changes. It's a dynamic definition, so that's something that you have to keep in mind. So our textbook notes that a business model is a unique configuration of elements comprising the organization's goals, strategies, processes, technologies, and structure, conceived to create value for the customers and thus compete successfully in a particular market. I would say without a doubt the most important part of this is sort of how strategy ties into technology, and that's something that you're going to have to consider when we're looking at what you're going to be doing for your project for this class. So what are we looking at when we talk about a business model? We're looking at the core value proposition. Basically, why your business exists, what it's trying to do, what purpose it's trying to serve, how you intend to make money. One of the good things about internet marketing is it's relatively cost effective. So you can invest, you have to invest time in it, but you'll get a decent return on it as long as you have a good plan. What does it cost to actually generate revenue? Once again, that differs depending on if you're trying for a local model, a statewide model, or a national model, and what's your growth trajectory. I can't stress enough how important growth trajectory is in our economy today, because you want to have something that's sustainable and constantly evolving. One of the things that I always tell people in business classes related to growth trajectory, the easiest way to define growth trajectory for me is Gwen Stefani. Think about Gwen Stefani in the 1990s. She was a member of an alternative rock band, lead singer of No Doubt, and then she realized that her sustainable model was failing, and she had to evolve to a solo artist, do electronic music, reinvent herself, do a nostalgia type of thing, and then position herself more as a personality than a celebrity. She is somebody who understood what growth trajectory was, and she's been doing it successfully for 20 plus years. So your business is going to have to evolve just like she did. So try to think of that when you think of growth trajectory. So what should business models do? They should basically tell you, what they're going to do and what they're going to accomplish, and who they're trying to accomplish their goals for. That target market segment is everything. You might have a certain population that you're working with, and you have to identify them up front. And if you don't know who your population is, that can be equally as big of a problem as well, because then you're just basically throwing your product out there, seeing what sticks, and that can be good, that can be bad. Profit potential is everything as well, because you have to know the type of income that you can potentially make. If your trajectory in your target market is or low income people looking for alternatives, then you probably won't have much profit, so you're going to have more people investing in your product than if you were going for high-end users, where you might only need a couple of people, because more money, more revenue. And then your position in the network is equally important. Who are the competitors? How do you position your product that makes it different and unique? So we're going to talk about all of these in terms of your business model when we're talking about the web design. What I'm basically looking for, though, I want to stress the key resources idea, because the key resources idea is going to basically design where you're going to get revenue from, how you're going to be able to use your product, and what's going to make you sustain more than somebody else. So our textbook asks us if a business model is just a way to make money on the internet, and that's absolutely false. You have to use the business model as a way to create sustainability, and when you have sustainability, then you make money. So the model has to have all the elements in it, and that's going to help you make money, not just using the model to make money in the beginning. So one of the things that I have to stress, because I know that a lot of people in this class have indicated that they're majoring in entrepreneurship. In entrepreneurship, your final project, your final thesis at almost every four-year institution is about an 80 to 100-page business plan. It just is what it is. A business model, what we're looking at in here, isn't a business plan. This is supposed to be how you get customers, sustain customers, and understand who the target customers are. This isn't going to talk about your financial projections, how your organization is going to operate. I don't care about that, and that's not the point of this course. This course is what are you going to do to target a certain customer, and how are you going to create value for that customer so they come back. So when you're thinking of things for this class, this is important. The customer value creation element, that's one of the big ideas here. So once again, I'll refer to some of the charts in our book if you can't see them as well on the slideshow. This is available on page 64, but we're basically saying that each customer has needs. You create something that matches the capabilities, and then that goes back and that works for the target customer. And that's kind of the goal for any business model. So you find out what the customer needs, you try to match it, and then you create value through doing that. So we're giving you multiple different types of business models. This is also available on page 64. Look at the different ways that incentives can come through. Look at the different models that exist and see if there's something that would fit more related to what you're trying to do. My guess is that nobody in this class is going to be doing much other than a merchant model or a service model, basically just because of the fact that this is an intro-level college course. You're not going to have a subscription model. You're probably not going to have an affiliate model. You might have a community model like Facebook or Craigslist or Wikipedia. But these are different types of business models where if you're trying to define what you're doing, this is something that you can look at as well. So basically what we say and what we stress is that you have to have people that understand what's going on. The business has to make sense. If the business doesn't make sense and you don't have the people that are able to do it, then switching to an internet-run marketing scheme doesn't help you at all. The internet's there basically as a driver, and that's what we need to see it as, a way for you to get more people to invest in your idea and to invest in your business. So, the broker model. The broker model is designed to bring buyers and sellers together. These are the type of things that basically you have an idea, you have a need, you can go and you can search on the internet for them. You can exchange goods and services. Auction brokers are things like eBay, virtual marketplaces and coupon promotions like Groupon. These are all ideas that were multi-billion-dollar ideas that the internet was able to do better than classified ads, television ads, newspaper ads, things of that nature. So we give you an example of one B2B model. You're welcome to look at this article if you'd like. We'll show you some of the issues that have happened. Obviously, there can be challenges with fraudulent items being sold. That happens on eBay all the time. There can be issues with selling CDs and DVDs, especially if it's been something that's been illegally made and illegally mastered, because in other countries it's perfectly legal to copy and sell things, but in our country obviously there are restrictions on that. So this is certainly something that you're welcome to look at on your own. So how do you advertise? What are the most effective forms of advertising? And this is available on page 68. It should come with no surprise to anybody watching this that Google is still our leading advertising market. My argument looking at all of this is that Facebook is going to slowly grow. So if you're looking at ways to advertise, their advertising market share has continued to grow basically by customizing the right side of your news feed to ads that are supposed to fit you and your interests. Google's going to continue to expand as well. We all know that Yahoo's declining as a search engine, and so is AOL, and the trajectories show that. So think of ways that you can market on Facebook and Google in order to improve the way that you're delivering your advertising. So Yahoo was one of the first places that actually did this portal idea. Yahoo tried to get insights based on who you were in your search history, and they were the ones that first came up with this concept of you use your search history, and then we're going to match ads related to you. So why isn't Yahoo then leading the market? Well, in all honesty, it's because Google had a more effective search engine that people liked. If Yahoo's search engine would have been more effective, people would have gone to Yahoo, but they basically used that model first. They're the ones that came up with the advertising model that what you type in, they remember your searches and they relate the advertising to you. If they would have perfected their search engine, that would have been more effective, and Google basically took that concept, used it, made it better, and perfected it. So Yahoo News is still one of the most popular websites for news. It's still ranked very high. If you want to look at a graph that really shows and expresses that, that's also available in our textbook on page 70. Note too that this is as of May 2011. But Yahoo News is still one of the most popular worldwide news sources that you can have. So reselling useful data. This is something else that you have to consider as a marketing strategy. If you join or sign up to a mailing list or any kind of newsletters, occasionally there'll be a box at the bottom that says, "May we send your information to an affiliate?" When that happens, they're basically buying the right to your data. So if your business expands from a local model to a regional model, perhaps this is something else that you could consider doing as well, in basically creating an advertising network that holds value over time. So incentive-based marketing. Incentive-based marketing really was an idea that existed in the 1990s, and it's continued to grow. This is basically the idea, you create surveys, you go on, you purchase things from one site, you get cash, you get gift cards by filling out surveys. They use those ideas, send you the gift cards, and then sell those ideas in your profile to other potential people who are likely to use your information to market and target things to you. So when you do this and when you create a survey and you give feedback, you're basically giving your demographic information so that they know how to advertise to you. Once again, if you can latch onto something like this, this is another effective way for you to work your business as well. So obviously, those of you that have had marketing classes, you know what virtual merchants are, catalog merchants are, bit vendors, click and mortar, and aggregator models are. This is something that you can revisit in your textbook if you would like to. Try to think of the notion of the click and mortar one in terms of selling products, because these are the places that house things in a warehouse, you buy, and then they send it to you. So different model implementations can make a difference. I think this is worth noting because I'm sure everybody watching this shops at Amazon. Amazon does have lots of products, focuses on shipping, focuses on effectiveness, and focuses on undercutting prices. But their net profit using their model is something that hasn't been, even though they have such a high market share, they're not making as much profit as other organizations are, because Amazon isn't going for profit, they're going for return customer base and users. That's one of the reasons why they've diversified into Prime, They can get money on the front end by using Amazon Prime. Basically, you pay up to have you pay $99 a year for 2-day shipping, plus you get streaming video. So they're trying to diversify their market because their sales, despite the fact that they're high, they're not showing much of a profit. Now eBay, on the other hand, if you've ever sold anything or bought anything off of eBay, you know how huge their fees are. You're basically giving 10 to 15% of what you're making to eBay in order to list the product, plus you're paying fees if the item doesn't sell just in order to list it. So eBay shows a greater profit, but they're doing 1/4 of the business that Amazon's doing. So a different model will show different things. They highlight Barnes & Noble here. I know a lot about Amazon and eBay's models. I don't know much about Barnes & Noble, but I do know that Barnes & Noble tries to do a business similar to Amazon, and Barnes & Noble, their internet business has been showing heavy and steady decline, and they've been going more for their actual business in the retail center because the internet model hasn't been doing as well. So the direct model is basically this notion of direct selling. Software can be used as a service. You create a software, you design a different way of sending your product out. You license that content out, and then you send it to other people, and that's another source of revenue. If you have an auction site and the actual software that you're using to drive the auction site works, then you're selling that out and you're syndicating it and you're letting others use that as well. So let's talk about the affiliate model for incentives to partners. One of the things that I would encourage you to do if you're looking at probably 2014's most successful affiliate model is something called Podcast One. Podcasts are growing throughout the United States, where celebrities are going on and broadcasting different things related to sports, entertainment, media. And Podcast One has made all the revenue using this concept of the affiliate model. Basically, they have banners that run across the top of the screen, and every time somebody just simply clicks on the banner, the affiliate pays them because it gave them revenue by somebody going and visiting their sites. They share the revenue with the podcast. If a lot of people go on to the site, then they'll advertise actually in the podcast. And that's been a great, effective affiliate model. So if you want to see one that works and that's effective, check out Podcast One. Our textbook doesn't talk about it, but I think it's been the most successful model in 2014. So the notion of the community model, trying to connect people to companies. We talk about open source, open content, crowdsourcing, fundraising, and social networking. This is done more through social networking than anything else. This is when somebody starts a business, they create a Facebook group to promote the business, they get other people to like it. As more people like it, it shows up in other people's news feeds, and then you're basically creating and growing the model through using community building. It's important that you try to target people in a certain region, though, because you want the right people to see the model that you're using. You can, in terms of fundraising, we have Kickstarter and GoFundMe are two major organizations that do massive fundraising campaigns, and that's another way that we've done marketing as well. So the notion of the subscription model, where you pay for content and you pay for services. Obviously, if I'm going to mention one thing that's our most popular subscription model in the United States, it's obviously Netflix. Netflix is probably the most common subscription model that exists. Hulu's another one as well. You're basically paying for content. You're involved in their organization. You join and you subscribe, and you get access to either DVDs or streaming media. Netflix. Let me stop and talk about Netflix for a minute, because we're talking about this notion of diversifying what you are and what you offer. Netflix is a perfect example of this. Netflix original model was send DVDs in the mail. Basically a rental service where you never had to get off of your couch. Very, very, very effective. Then they noticed that their revenue stream was declining. When they noticed that it was declining, they had to diversify, so they started with streaming content. And now, I would argue more people use Netflix for the streaming content than they ever would for the DVD service. So this is another one that found a way to diversify using a subscription model, and they kept the subscription model, and that helped them. I'm a big UFC and professional wrestling fan.